I think with what the last thing before.
Did he go to Commissioner Durst?
I get it, you know, I'm out of all the rain.
I know he'd been in for several years. So it may be 5 or 6 years before you see what's doing together. That's not all bad. So we have a congregation.
We'll call tonight's meeting of the Boyd City Council to order. Mandy, would you take a roll call, please?
Kent Miller,
Here.
Rick Brown,
Here.
Tony Dingler, Matt Audie,
Here.
Lloyd Luttrell,
Present.
Robert Peterson,
Present.
Bob Richard.
Here.
Thank you. If you'd stand with me for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather here in this evening to conduct the business of our fair city. Give us the wisdom and the courage to make the decisions that we need to make and do the business of the city that will give the city the best outcome and those of our community. Please continue to protect our law enforcement and our servicemen as they protect us here in our country and abroad. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lloyd, do you have anything at this time?
No, thank you.
Matt?
Yeah, I had a pleasant conversation with the chief of police, and we were talking about drug addiction, and he brought to light to me a wonderful amount of money that we've been getting from drug addiction. I think that he deserves a little recognition for what they've done. Currently, they still have $18,965,000 in their drug addiction funds they've taken from drug dealers in this community in this year alone. They use that money to buy cars and go after them again. I think our chief of police and the whole police department deserves their praise for their hard work.
I agree with you 100%. Dave, thank you and your officers for the time and the commitment that it takes to keep us safe. And I think earlier this year we seen some reports how it was one of the safest cities in Kansas, so that just doesn't happen by itself. So, from us, thank you. Ken?
I'd just like to say thanks, Click, for the repairs out there on Highway 14 by the Chapman Road. That really looks nice. Prevent possibly some accidents from happening. Thanks for working on that.
Mr. Brown?
I just want to offer Mandy my condolences in the loss of her mother last week. I spoke to her a little bit before, but it's tough to be a very young lady.
Thank you. Tony?
Nothing other than sorry, Mandy.
Bob?
The only thing I have, Mandy, I'm sorry to hear that. I know how it is.
It's always tough when it was one of our parents. A lot of us have been through that. Let's see. Katie, do you have anything at this time?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mr. Rodden?
I do. I think we'll start right out here with the county folks here and the county zoning. You know, Commissioner Tom Clausen is here representing the county commission here, and something you took action a couple of weeks ago. Took the motion on.
8 days ago, Glenn.
Okay, all right.
Tom, do you want to?
So if you'd like to go ahead and kind of update us on what's going on there with the county.
Good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor. Representing Mitchell County, we had talked about this
this has been a topic of conversation for about the last 13 months about the extraterritorial jurisdiction. And we had a group of citizens into our meeting Monday morning, and we decided to act on it. And what precipitated this was all the meetings and publicity this has had over the last year or so. And most of the comments we had were that nobody wanted the zoning. And so this kind of caught us off guard, but the people that came in and talked to us Monday morning decided that if we were going to have zoning, they wanted the county to have a chance at it. And so we decided to do this, and we're going to zone, we haven't decided the area yet, but it'll be either be 2 or 3 square miles. And the lines will be exactly straight. They will go down the middle of the county and township roads. That'll give you a nice square area to zone and to define by the benchmark. If you're not aware, each county and township road intersection has a benchmark right in the middle. And those are legal, definite boundaries. We had some people that thought we ought to go on quarter-mile lines. Can't do that because over the period of time, farming practice, ranching practice have moved those fence lines. They could be skewed 20 or 30 feet. So we're going right down the middle of the road, and hopefully we can make this a squared off area, either approximately 2 miles or 3 miles, and that'll take in some of the, taking probably all of the extraterritorial jurisdiction that the Planning Commission has done, and maybe slightly more than that. But that'll be up to the Planning Commission. And as we speak, we're taking applications for a county planning commission. That'll be a minimum of 5 members, and they'll be all from the county and probably 1 or 2 from the city, just to make sure we have a accurate representation. The majority have to be in the county, and we can even go at large. So you might see a planning commission member from Tipton or Hunter area, even though that's not an affected area. And in addition to that, we're also taking an application for a zoning board of appeals. And that, again, is a minimum of 3 people. And those will be people that will probably never meet unless there's a problem with the zoning or zoning application. Like I said, the boundaries will be on the mile lines. You may or may not see a comprehensive plan. In checking with our legal department out of the state of Kansas, counties aren't required to have a comprehensive plan. And the reason that happened was because in 1992, when this bill was enacted, they deliberately left the counties out because the cost of a comprehensive plan prohibited a lot of small counties to have the resources, the financial resources necessary to have a comprehensive plan. Our legal department indicated a comprehensive plan would be good, but not necessary. And there again, that decision will be up to our planning commission. The planning commission is going to work closely with the county commission to get started, and the first thing we'll do is probably define those boundary lines. The next thing we'll probably do is decide whether we want to have a comprehensive plan or not. Comprehensive plans are kind of unique for the counties. I'm not a big one on reinventing the wheel. There's a lot of good comprehensive plans out there, and so we're probably going to look at several in rural counties very similar to Mitchell County and use a plan very similar to that. We want to make this as least restrictive and as least cost impact for the citizens that we can have, that we can do. And with that, I don't know much more to say other than we didn't mean to spring this on you, but we just met 8 days ago. I had talked to Glenn that night at the legislative forum, so he was aware of that. And so right now we're in the same situation the city was about a year ago. We're in uncharted territory, but we've got a pretty good handle on what we need to do. Any questions?
Any questions for Commissioner Lawson?
Glad to see you take a hold of this, Tom. I mean, I fail to see what it matters who owns you, but if you're gonna do this, I encourage you to do it.
Actually, Bob, I'm glad you said that because I don't see any difference who owns it either, except that some of the people came to us and wanted the county to zone it. And I don't know if that's showing favoritism or exactly what it is. We, as a county commission, I speak from Commissioner Marshall and Commissioner Cooper, did not want, I repeat, did not want to be in the zoning business. We would just as soon that we could have rolled the clock back 13 months and this had never happened. But since we're in the zoning business, we're gonna do this as least restrictive and affect the smallest area as possible. And with that being said, that's really all I can say right now.
Okay.
I just wish you luck.
Well, I've had a lot of people wish me luck too, and we're dealing with the same citizens that have been to all the meetings, and these citizens, there's several of them back here, are getting more informed every day. I know a whole lot more about zoning than I did a year ago, much more than I ever wanted to know, and we have a lot of citizens that are that way too, and I hope that good education develops into a good plan. Matt?
So in your education, have you come to the conclusion that zoning is the boogeyman that everybody's making it out to be?
Actually, Matt, there's a lot of counties, a lot of rural counties like Mitchell County that have zoning, and there's an equal number that probably don't have zoning. No one seems to have a handle. It's what the elected, what our citizens really want. I don't think it's a boogeyman, nor do I think a lack of zoning is a boogeyman either. I just believe both of them have their merits. The big advantage would be if we would have a situation, some hazardous business come in, we may be able to stop that. But let's face it, these people that move these rural areas, I'm talking about, there's a large farm operation over at Osborne. There's a huge one, where did I read that in Sliner Journal? Oh, out at Tribune. Huge farming operation, corporate farming. They have enough money. I really suspect that they can get around the zoning laws once, if they want to. I don't see where that's been a barrier for putting up a facility that would house 10,000 pigs. I don't see that would be a barrier for someone that came in like Abilene Machine and wanted to do a tractor and combine recycling facility. There's all kinds of arguments for and against. The big company's got the money, and I think zoning is merely a speed bump.
Any other questions for Councilman Clausen?
Thanks for coming, Tom.
Thank you for coming.
Glad to be here.
Sharon, see you. Glenn, back to you.
Yeah, the only other thing is, like Councilman Miller said, we did put some boxes in up during K-14, which took the initiative. That's a temporary solution while that's out for rebid on that project there. You also notice that I think we included in your packet a little diagram of our power plant drainage there. I think it's kind of in the back, a little color photograph there of that. You see, that's going to take care of some of that drainage issues we've had that affected the nights down there and affected the whole parking lot that's been down there. So we've had pretty significant rainfall here recently, but it hasn't caused any real problems. So the whole point is to alleviate all that slides down the hill there and creates all that mud down there. So transportation department's been working on
How
that.
tall is that retaining wall gonna be?
I don't know.
2 foot?
2 foot?
Yeah, it's
2
already
foot.
built.
Oh, you already got that in there? Okay, yeah. So, yeah, this is short, but it should really do the job as far as, keeping that, because that does become a problem. We do get some significant rain down there.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it looks, I think it's a pretty good solution for us. And later on here in this meeting, we're gonna be talking about the safe routes to school. We have some maps here that we'll distribute when we get to that point. We'll talk about different route alternatives here for that project here as we go forward. So, but that's it.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Next item on the agenda this evening is the consent agenda. And for the November 17th council meeting, and appropriations 12A.
Could we make those two items separated, that wasn't thought from last meeting?
Okay, that'll be
Vote
fine.
on this appropriations.
I'll entertain a motion then for the
So
approval of
moved.
the council meeting minutes. And it's been moved by Councilman Brown that we approve the council meeting minutes from November 17th. I have a second.
So moved.
Second by Councilman Peterson. Is there any further discussion? No further discussion. Andy, would you take a roll call vote on that, please?
Brown,
Here.
Gingler,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Audi,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Latrell.
I will abstain.
Richard?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next item is appropriations 12A. Entertain a motion for acceptance of appropriations 12A.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Miller that we approve appropriations 12A. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Latrell. Any further discussion? No further discussion. Mandy, would you take another roll call vote, please?
Brown?
Yep.
Gingler?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Audi?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Latrell?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. We have no ordinances or resolutions this evening. Next item on the agenda is formal actions, Fourth Ward Council seat.
Since I talked to Dave and asked him to accept that chair for the undisclosed term, I'll make a motion that we ask Dave to join the council.
I'm gonna second it.
Have a motion, a second. Motion by Councilman Peterson, second by Councilman Brown to have David Porter join the council. Any discussion?
I have some questions I'd like to ask Mr. Porter.
Yeah, Mr. Porter, if you'd come up and address it.
Hi, Dave. As you're on record in the September 10th, 2014 edition of the Boyd Call as being in opposition to extraterritorial zoning and jurisdiction, is it your intention, when you come on council, to readdress this controversial issue, or are there any other political scabs that you wish to pick at? And if so, could you please name them?
Well, because I don't have enough information to make a decision, which I'd like to get more information on, I can't make a decision if I'm gonna do anything. I'd like to sit there and maybe look at some of the data you've done, some of the research you've done. But as for this time, I don't plan to open anything back up unless it's brought back up, and then I wanna have information in data.
I have another question. Are you high right now?
I kind of take offense to that.
Well, on August 7th, 2012, there was this article in story by Mike Schrant where he was talking about first court appearance in Mitchell County District Court for a 57-year-old David Porter of Beloit. He was formally charged with 3 misdemeanor drug-related charges, 1 count of possession of hallucinogenic drug, marijuana, 2 counts of possession of drug paraphernalia. Porter pled not guilty to each of the 3 charges. It says here, the Mitchell County Sheriff's Department reported the sheriff's deputies found Porter with a vehicle parked at Lakeside Golf Course in Copper City, Sunday, July 22nd at 12:08 in the morning. In addition to the drug items found on Mr. Porter, he's been charged with a firearm and a switchblade, which were also found in his vehicle. In court, it said that they went after a diversionary agreement, and I assume you got your diversionary agreement. But I gotta know, I'm just curious, and I understand this is in your formative years when you were 57, so I'm sure you've grown up by now. But were you buying, selling, or simply just using your own self-manufactured product?
I always use my self-manufactured product because of medical conditions.
So you're a producer of
No,
illegal
I'm not a
drugs?
producer. No, I could buy it
Well,
in
which is it?
Colorado.
You used your own, you said you used your own, and now you're
It
saying,
was my purchase, I purchased it.
and you transported across state line?
Yeah. Anything else you wanna know about that? Do you wanna know
Yeah,
any
yeah, there
reason
is.
or what?
Being that you were arrested with a gun and a switchblade in your possession at the time of arrest, are we to assume that you frequently associate with individuals that you feel are trying to harm you?
Matt, I don't know what this personal attack's all about, but at the same time, I always carry a
I believe
gun.
it's a matter of character, and I don't think that you have the character to serve on this council.
Matt, I carry a pistol and my gun in my car all the time.
Besides
It's
your
standard.
duty.
And the
And-
switchblade that they're talking about is this. It's not a switchblade. This is a spring assist. It's a legal knife. So it has nothing to do with anything. This is my pocket knife that I use all the time. Now, you're making an awful lot about it, because I understand why, but at the same time, it's not illegal in Colorado. And at the same time, it's unconstitutional for a law like that in the first place. I don't have anybody tell me what I can and cannot do. And there was no harm, no foul, nobody got hurt. It's my own personal use, and I can't say anything else about it.
My last question is, why would you want to come on this council and sit right here next to me and be in the face of the media and everybody and take the bash from the community? What is your driving passion? What's making you want to come to this council and serve on this council?
I came here to serve in this council because I asked by Bob Peterson to serve in this council. And the reason I'm doing it is because we need represented in the 4th Ward. And I'm going to do my civic duty to serve on this council, but it seems like nobody else is going to, so I volunteer.
Is there any other questions, Tom?
David, you just said that you can do what you want to do. I understand you claim to be a sovereign citizen.
Yes, I do.
Do you know the FBI declares that the third terrorist group
Sure.
in this country?
Did you know that anybody that has a Ron Paul bumper sticker on his car is also considered a terrorist?
Really?
Yeah, according to
Well, let me
the
ask you this.
Missouri MEAC report.
Why do you choose not to participate in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I participate in the Pledge of Allegiance.
No, I can ask
No.
anybody in the back of this room.
Okay.
You sit back there eating your supper and playing on your computer and
No, I'm not playing on the
don't even
computer.
stand up.
I don't stand up sometimes because my ankle hurts.
Well, let me read you the definition of the
Well,
FBI, of a sovereign citizen.
I-
Sovereign citizens are anti-government extremists who believe that even though they physically reside in this country, they are separate or sovereign from the United States. As a result, they believe they don't have to answer to any government authority, including courts, taxing entities, motor vehicle departments, or law enforcement. This causes all kinds of problems and crimes. For example, many sovereign citizens don't pay their taxes, they hold illegal courts that issue warrants for judges or officers, so on and so forth. So from this I get, do you consider yourself a citizen of the United States?
I believe I'm a citizen of this country, yeah.
Then how can you claim to be a sovereign citizen?
I have to, because that's what the law is. I have taxes, I have a driver's license, I have everything that I need, the insurance, everything I have to comply with, because that's the government's request. Otherwise, you're thrown into a steel cage. I don't do this because I want to, I do it because I have to.
But do you advocate what this says, that you don't have to comply with
No, I don't
laws?
advocate that at all. You have to comply with that, because otherwise you're going to get thrown in prison. So and as for the Pledge of Allegiance, wow, that's out there. I mean,
Why is it out there? Pete, you guys fought and
okay,
died,
yeah,
so we can say the Pledge
and
of
each of these
Allegiance.
people have sworn an oath to the Constitution. In fact, let me read you part of that oath. It says, "I will support and defend the Constitution and its laws against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same." That's what I believe in. Now, you tell me that's any different than the Pledge of Allegiance? No. In fact, if you go on, 1943, Supreme Court Justice Robert Jackson, writing with a 6-3 majority, went beyond ruling that public school students are not required to say the pledge on narrow grounds, but asserted that such ideological dogma is anti-ethical to the principles of the country, and conclude that if there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, and other matters of opinion, or force citizens to confess by word or act their faith therein. If there are any circumstances which permit an exception, they do not now occur to us.
Now, is there some reason you carry all this stuff around so you can defend yourself, or what?
Well, yeah, because you seem to be uninformed of what the
Well,
Constitution is about.
I'm done, but I'm gonna say, I want no part of this. If this council puts him on this council to represent the citizens of Beloit, who's an anti-government, self-proclaimed, then we don't deserve to be here, any of us. So I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Lloyd, you have a comment?
I guess I don't.
Okay.
I did have, but I got skipped over, so.
Life's like
Are we
that.
gonna vote?
Yeah.
Maybe I had a question. I know. Okay, we'll take this to a vote. Andy, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Peterson,
What are we voting on?
We are voting on setting him as a councilman.
Okay.
I'm gonna excuse myself from this meeting because this is all bullshit. Oh my God.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. We'll catch up with you later. See you next meeting.
Yep.
Mandy, would you continue, please?
Peterson,
Bob?
Yes.
Gingler,
Thank you, Dave. No problem. Sorry, Dave.
Probably no.
Latrell,
Yeah.
Richard,
No.
Audie,
No.
Miller,
No.
Okay, motion to seat Dave Porter fails. Next on the item on the agenda this evening is adjournment. Have a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Richard that we adjourn. Have a second by Councilman Audie. For further discussion, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. We're adjourned and I'm now into closed session. Katie, do you have anything?
You mean a work session? No,
Oh, yeah, excuse me.
I don't have anything.
I'm sorry, I
No.
was looking at my notes. The excitement in the work session.
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing further.
Okay. Next item for discussion is a safe routes to school. We had an issue where there was some issues with driveways and some other things, trees, and just a lot of issues that would ramp up the cost. And Stuart's here to address this. Thank you, Stuart.
Mr. Chairman, I also have some representatives of the Aware Committee here.
That's right.
Here representing those folks that last week, and remember they actually put out the grant here and secured that for us, I think almost 2 years ago now, it seems like, yeah. So if you want to come up too, Greg, and kind of address this, so we kind of meet in the original route, I believe, was
The original
8th Street,
route,
and we went to 7th. And then we're now proposing a different route here, which would be 4th Street, I believe, and still connecting up with 12th Street, if you understand how that map works. So it's not continuous as you go up there, but, and the reason is, after looking at 8th Street, which is the original route, it's too crowded along there, and of course, that's the highway. So we went to 7th Street, but as we noticed, there's streets and some other barriers that are in the way, the drainage area that's in the way there too. So I think a couple months ago, we started looking at another alternative, which would have been 4th Street, so we went out and drove that. We met last week, and I think we discussed this with one KDOT engineer who's on this. She's actually the engineer, I think, on the K-14 project as well. She now also does Safe Routes to School, I started, I think, sometime last year. And she's open to alternative routes, which we didn't realize that was even going to be a possibility with KDOT, because a lot of times they say you submit an application for a grant, we're going to stick with that here. But they're open to that, so I don't know if you guys want to kind of take it from there and explain what we're doing as far as why 4th Street may be a better route and that sort of thing, or?
Sure. First of all, I apologize for not getting you the maps ahead of time, but we just met on Wednesday morning, and I didn't have a chance to get the maps to you before your council packets went out. It was, we have a preliminary design completed for the route on 7th Street. And as we started putting costs to the retaining walls and looking at the disruption to existing infrastructure along 7th Street, it was becoming problematic, and our dollars were not going to be stretched as far as we had hoped that they would be, due to a variety of reasons. So we were questioned about taking a look at 4th Street as an alternative route. It's a much cleaner route. The dollars will go farther. And the blue lines on the map on 4th Street especially are areas that we think would be able to be, are sidewalks that would be able to be reused. So the goal is certainly to provide a an east-west route from Western Avenue to Poplar, or very near Poplar. And by using the 4th Street route, we probably get an additional 6 to 8 blocks of continuous sidewalk completed using the budget that has been set forth by KDOT. So we met on Wednesday with the AWARE team and Glenn and Click and talked about the merits, the pros and the cons of 7th Street versus 4th Street. And everybody present thought that 4th Street did have very good merit. And so we thought that the best thing to do is to bring this before the council to make a formal request to KDOT to change the southern portion of the route